Skipjack are the world's most abundant tuna. They're resilient, but can they outswim our demand for this pantry staple? As a fishing boat moves through the Malacca Sea, off the coast of the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, two crewmen fling shovelfuls of tiny bait fish overboard, stoking a foaming tuna feeding frenzy.
Mantap. Wow, ada barang. Wow, kayu.
One of the maritime activities in Cirebon Regency, especially fishermen, is catching fish in the sea, which is still done traditionally. Wearing or nets are the main equipment for catching fish, both at sea and on land. This simple, but efficient and effective equipment arouses further curiosity about its existence. At a maximum weight of just over 30 kilograms, about the size of a bull terrier, but reaching maturity at less than 2 kilograms, skipjack seem unremarkable next to the charismatic and much desired Pacific bluefin, which can grow to 3 meters and weigh as much as a large grand piano.
Udah. Ayo, duluan deh, Kak. Ayo. Oh, ada.
But skipjack possess twin superpowers: fast growth and impressive fecundity relative to their bigger tuna cousins, which has helped to sustain their abundance despite being the most caught tuna on Earth. Skipjack accounted for about half of the nearly 7 million tons of tuna harvested globally in 2018, the most recent year for which catch numbers exist.
Ya, cok lihat ini, Le.
Skipjack are found throughout the world's tropical and subtropical waters, including the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, but most are now caught in the Western and Central Pacific Ocean, which stretches like an aquatic thoroughfare from Indonesia eastward through the exclusive economic zones of Pacific Island countries and territories including the Solomon Islands.
Ya, sampai botnya yang inya na. Aduh, agak hayo kita bot kawan depan lagi ni. Kalau bos kata no ipak dia ai.
But despite their remarkable resilience as fast-growing breeding machines, some researchers are warning it's only a matter of time until skipjack, representing one of the planet's last great oceanic biomasses, are fished into decline in a way similar to the cod of Newfoundland or any number of bigger tuna species in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. In times when the sea is empty of fish and there are more and more boats, if connections between fishing professions at sea are not established, it will be difficult for sea voyages to achieve productivity. More than 11 years ago, I had the good fortune to experience the job of a fisherman catching striped tuna in the open sea with a seine net to remove lead on a wooden-hulled boat with a capacity of up to 900 CV. Arriving at the fishing grounds, the fishing boat I was on no longer accelerated like when it first left the dock, but kept running crazy across the sea surface. Fishermen are catching fish. The lead purse seine fisherman specializes in catching striped tuna based on the traditional method of finding driftwood on the sea.
The fishing grounds are vessels that practice seine netting without a destination, but let the ship run slowly. As the ship runs, the crew stands on both sides of the ship and observes to see if there are any driftwood logs floating in the sea. Seeing a floating tree means hoping for fish, because the attribute of striped tuna is that they often hide under the shade of drifting trees. Seeing a floating tree, I sent divers down to determine how many fish were under that tree. If we see a large stock of fish, we will have someone tie a flag and a beacon on that log so that day and night we can monitor where that log is going and let the boat slowly follow there. With the flag and the beacon is also a signal to let other ships know that the fish has an owner. At 4 a.m. the next morning, the boat will start setting the fishing net. After eating that batch of fish, the ship continued to wander around looking for another piece of driftwood, that is, looking for another school of fish. In the past, this traditional fishing method by ships specializing in seine nets was still productive, because at that time there were still many aquatic resources at sea and there were few boats. But now, if boats specializing in catching striped tuna rely on floating logs, they will only be hungry. Because nowadays, from ocean tuna fishing boats to light seine fishing boats, they all use lights to attract fish. So if you keep looking for fish hiding under the shade of floating trees, the trip can take twice as long, but it is not necessarily successful quantity. Therefore, hundreds of fishing vessels specializing in lead seine fishing of quad non-fishermen are linked with ocean tuna fishing vessels to make the fishing trips more effective. According to Mr. Thong, the main fishing season for striped tuna starts from May to October of the lunar calendar every year. This time is the south wind season. The sea water is warm. Fish from the sea below Malaysia follow the water to the
Dari lo, ro ya tuh di mentengi. Vale, por lo
Use light and T2 concentrate fish. Because fish gather around the light source, the seine net length does not need to be very large, usually from 350 to 500 meters, and the net height is from 70 to 120 meters. If catching anchovies, the height only needs to be 45 to 55 meters. This is a popular form of fishing from north to south, accounting for about 70 to 90% of the total number of purse seine vessels. The ship actively searches for schools of fish to surround, so this type of net requires a large size. Net length 700 to 1,250 meters, net height 100 to 190 meters. For fast-swimming fish species, the length and height of the net are required. The number of free purse seine vessels is much smaller than light purse seine vessels, accounting for only 10 to 30% of the total number of seine net vessels combined with light, accounting for only 10 to 30% of the total number of purse seine vessels. The length of seine net used in our country meets technical requirements. However, in Vietnam Sea, there are very large schools of floating fish, so research into using seine nets of appropriate length and appropriate ship size to bring high economic efficiency must be considered. Most purse seine vessels operate in coastal areas and do not require a large net height. The average is about 70 meters. Currently, to develop offshore fishing, there are a few offshore seine vessels with net heights of 100 to 190 meters. The main exploited objects of seine fishing in our country are small pelagic fish species, with the mesh size in Part 2A being 20 to 25 millimeters. The number of purse seine vessels exploiting tuna stocks is still small. Thus, the mesh size in purse seine fishing in Vietnam is smaller than purse seine nets abroad and compared to theoretical calculations. The weight of lead equipped for lead ropes ranges from 0.67 to 2.54 kilograms per meter, in accordance with recommended limits. This limit stipulates that the sinking force equipped for 1 meter of lead rope should be 0.5 to 2.5 kilograms per meter. The amount of buoys equipped for purse seine.
Boleh lo. Dari lo, mau ala ya lo.
Cantrang is an active fishing tool whose operation touches the bottom of the water. The cantrang is operated by spreading the fishing line in a circle, followed by lowering the cantrang net, then bringing the two ends of the fishing line together. The two ends of the rope are then pulled towards the ship until all parts of the net bag are lifted. The use of a diving rope that reaches a length of more than 1,000 meters, 500 meters each on the right and left sides causes the sweep of the diving rope to be very wide. The size of the cantrang and length of rope used depends on the size of the ship. On ships measuring over 30 gross tons GT, which are equipped with cold storage, the cantrang is operated with a 6,000 meters long rope. With simple calculations, if the circumference of the circle is 6,000 meters, the area obtained by the string sweep is 289 ha. Withdrawing the net causes the bottom of the waters to stir, which can cause damage to the bottom of the waters, causing a significant impact on the underwater ecosystem. Based on research results in Brandong, Lamongan, IPB 2009, only 51% of cantrang catches were target fish, while the other 49% were non-target. As for the results of research in Tegel on Dip 2008, the use of cantrang can only catch 46% of target fish, and the other 54% are non-target fish, which are dominated by trash fish. The fish caught by cantrang are generally used by surimi factories and purchased at a maximum price of 5,000 per kilograms. Meanwhile, Non-target fish catches are used to make fish meal for animal feed. The results of the dialogue forum on April 24, 2009, between Pantora fishermen and the Central Java Maritime and Fisheries Service, TAL, Polri, Ministry of Transportation, and Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries KKP described the condition of Cantrang in Central Java, namely the number of Cantrang ships in 2004 totaling 3,209 units, an increase of 5,100 units in 2007, and in 2007 totaling 10,758 units. Meanwhile, the catch per unit,
താനെ ഒന്നേ ഏറിയാലോ യോളോ iya Teka ka pa nonton video ni balik tuna balik container toko mo nilay Del, toko mo Del toko mo Del para apa tu para apa nih oh, pala saliw sa ba? Oh, asok pala saliw.